Polar bears are completely invisible to heat cameras. You won't believe why. If you pointed a thermal imaging camera at a polar bear right now, you'd see nothing, just empty ice. The bear would vanish. We're talking about a 1,500-pound apex predator that somehow becomes a ghost to infrared technology. And the secret behind this biological stealth mode is so ingenious, it's rewriting what we thought we knew about insulation. But before we dive into this Arctic mystery, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you never miss our mind-blowing science content. Let's get started. Thermal cameras work by detecting heat, specifically infrared radiation emitted by warm objects. Every living creature, including humans, glows brightly on these cameras because we constantly radiate body heat into our surroundings. When wildlife researchers use thermal imaging to track animals in the wild, they see bright spots against cooler backgrounds. It's a technology that's revolutionized conservation efforts, military operations, and even home inspections. But when scientists pointed these same cameras at polar bears in the Arctic, something extraordinary happened. The bears simply disappeared. In 2013, a comprehensive 13-year study published in PLOS ONE revealed shocking findings. Aerial infrared surveys designed specifically to locate polar bear dens detected only 45% of the dens they were searching for. That means 55% of these massive animals, some weighing over 1,500 pounds, remained completely hidden from thermal detection technology built precisely to find them. Imagine that, an animal the size of a small car, invisible to some of our most sophisticated surveillance equipment. So what makes polar bears nature's stealth bombers? The answer lies in an extraordinary adaptation that took millions of years to perfect. Polar bears possess a thick layer of fat or blubber that can measure up to 11.4 centimeters thick. That's about 4.5 inches of pure insulation wrapped around their entire body. This fat layer is so effective at trapping heat that virtually no thermal energy escapes through the bear's skin to the outside environment. But the fat is only part of the story. What makes polar bears truly remarkable is how this insulation works in concert with their unique fur structure. Each polar bear hair isn't actually white, it's transparent and hollow. These hollow hairs contain chambered structures, with what scientists call labyrinth cavities. These cavities trap air close to the body and create multiple barriers that prevent heat from escaping. The hollow structure acts like microscopic thermos bottles, maintaining the temperature differential between the bear's warm body and the freezing Arctic air. The efficiency of this system is almost unbelievable. Polar bears maintain an internal body temperature of 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, exactly the same as humans. But here's where it gets insane. They can maintain that temperature even when external conditions plummet to negative 76 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a temperature difference of over 170 degrees. And the bear's insulation system handles it with just 5 centimeters of fur thickness and that crucial layer of fat underneath. Nanophysicist Bodil Holst, who studied this phenomenon, explains it perfectly. Quote, "Polar bears are invisible in infrared cameras, meaning their fur has the same temperature as the surroundings." Think about what that means. The outer surface of a polar bear's fur literally matches the temperature of the ice and snow around it. On a thermal camera, there's no temperature gradient, no heat signature, nothing to distinguish the bear from its environment. The bear becomes thermally camouflaged. This biological design is so sophisticated that it incorporates mathematical principles found in nature's most efficient structures. Researchers discovered that the hollow hairs contain fractal patterns arranged in mathematical golden ratios. These patterns create what scientists describe as labyrinth cavities that trap and redirect heat with stunning precision. It's like each hair is a tiny engineered component in a larger thermal management system, and together they form one of nature's most impressive examples of biomechanical engineering. But this amazing adaptation actually creates serious challenges for modern conservation efforts. Oil field operators in the Arctic struggle to locate polar bear dens using thermal imaging technology. When companies need to survey areas for potential drilling sites, they're supposed to identify and avoid disturbing denning polar bears, especially mothers with cubs. But if the bears don't show up on thermal cameras, how can they protect them? This invisibility that serves the bears so well in nature becomes a liability in our industrialized world. The implications extend beyond just oil exploration. Wildlife biologists who study polar bear populations rely on aerial surveys to count individuals and track their movements across vast Arctic territories. When more than half of all polar bear dens remain undetectable by infrared technology, it makes accurate population assessments incredibly difficult. Conservation strategies depend on reliable data, and if we can't see the bears, we can't count them. And if we can't count them, we can't properly protect them. Now here's something interesting. While adult polar bears are virtually invisible to thermal cameras, there's one exception to this rule. Scientists discovered that polar bear eyes act as thermal windows. Research published in Zoo Biology found that while the rest of the bear's body remains thermally concealed, the eyes emit enough infrared radiation to be detected and measured. In fact, researchers found a significant difference of about 2.7 degrees Celsius between the surface temperature of the eye measured with thermal imagery and the internal rectal temperature. This discovery has opened up new possibilities for non-invasive monitoring of polar bear health and energy expenditure. This eye temperature measurement technique revealed something else fascinating. When polar bears engage in social play, their eye temperature increases by an average of 1.34 degrees Celsius. This temperature change serves as a proxy for energy expenditure, allowing scientists to understand how much energy bears burn during different activities. During the fasting season, when polar bears rely entirely on their fat stores, any energy expenditure beyond what's required for essential activities could be costly to their survival, particularly in years when prey is scarce. The polar bear's invisible heat signature isn't just about survival in extreme cold. It's also about energy conservation on an epic scale. In an environment where food can be scarce and hunting requires enormous energy investment, preventing heat loss means polar bears need fewer calories to maintain their body temperature. Every bit of heat retained is energy saved, and in the harsh Arctic ecosystem, where a single seal might have to sustain a bear for weeks, that efficiency makes the difference between life and death. What's truly mind-blowing is that this adaptation works differently on land versus in water. On land or on top of sea ice, the polar bear's thick fur coat, not its fat, prevents nearly any heat loss. Adult males can actually overheat quickly when they run because their insulation is so effective. But in water, the dynamic changes completely. Wet fur loses most of its insulating properties, becoming a poor insulator. That's when the fat layer becomes absolutely critical. In water, polar bears rely much more heavily on their blubber than their fur to keep out the cold. This is why mother bears avoid swimming with young cubs in spring. The cubs haven't developed enough body fat yet to stay warm in Arctic waters. This incredible insulation system represents millions of years of evolutionary refinement, sculpting a creature perfectly adapted to one of Earth's harshest environments. In the vast, unrelenting cold of the Arctic, survival isn't just about strength or speed. It's about subtlety, strategy, and the ability to conserve every precious calorie. The polar bear's ghost-like presence on infrared cameras is a living testament to nature's brilliance in biological design. But here's the sobering reality we need to face. As climate change continues to warm the Arctic at twice the rate of the rest of the planet, these magnificent adaptations that took millions of years to develop are becoming less relevant. The sea ice that polar bears depend on for hunting seals is disappearing earlier in spring and forming later in autumn. Bears are forced to go longer without food, burning through those crucial fat reserves that make them invisible to thermal cameras. The very adaptation that makes them so successful in their environment can protect them from the fundamental changes happening to that environment. Understanding how polar bears stay warm teaches us profound lessons about physics, biology, and engineering. Scientists and engineers study polar bear insulation to develop better thermal materials for everything from building construction to protective clothing for extreme environments. Nature has already solved problems that we're still working on with our most advanced technology. The hollow structure of polar bear fur, the mathematical precision of its heat-trapping cavities, these aren't just interesting biological facts, they're blueprints for innovation. So the next time you see a polar bear, whether in a documentary, at a zoo, or if you're incredibly fortunate in the wild, remember that you're looking at one of nature's most sophisticated thermal engineering marvels. That thick white coat and the layers underneath aren't just keeping the bear warm. They're creating an invisibility cloak that defeats some of our most advanced detection technology. It's a reminder that sometimes the most impressive technology isn't found in laboratories or factories. It's walking around on 4 legs in the frozen north, perfected by millions of years of natural selection. If you found this fascinating, help us reach more people by hitting that like button and sharing this video. And don't forget to check out our other videos, exploring the incredible science behind nature's most amazing adaptations. What other animal superpowers would you like us to investigate next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember, the natural world is full of invisible wonders waiting to be discovered.